Looks like a few road trains. We're at Ilfricombe this morning and there's a mile of machinery, so I'm going to go for a walk along. There's a lot of noise this morning, and probably most mornings. There's a lot of road trains come through here. That's not one there, but it's just probably a bit longer than you have in other places. So we'll start off down the mile, and this is a tank and dam excavator. So we'll come in through here, give you a little read of that. But she's an old machine. The old truck's doing a tough pulling up over there. But yeah, it's steam powered. So I'm not 100% sure how this thing works, that's for sure. But it's sitting up on a rail there now. I don't know whether it ran along a rail or what it did. A wild bit of gear. But one of my favourite bits that I always come in here and have a look at, we've been here a few times now, is this wagon. Now this wagon was how they got the big wool bales to town, and I can probably come around the other side here, and there's a bit better sunshine there. But when we look underneath here, you can see this drive shaft. So each one had a diff, and you can see the diff underneath. I'll try and get back in under there if I can. And there's the diff. Then it comes out to a chain drive, and instead of just towing these wagons, each of them had a big driving wheel. But the other interesting thing with these is when you look at the kingpin set up here, they're all steerable axles. So each axle, as it turned the corners, and there's the drive shaft between the two, and that's how it hooks up down the bottom there. And as it turns, it pivots on the front of the axle there, and so she's four-wheel steer. But I'm not sure what's that on the front of this thing really. I suppose I could ask a local if I can see someone that would know. And but yeah, look, just an amazing bit of gear. If you're ever going to build a model of something, this would be an interesting thing to build for sure. So it looks to be a Daimler. It's got Daimler on all the hubcaps. But yeah, the ingenuity. I believe they did a few trips with it. Oh, here's the sign. I've been looking for this. I'll shut the video down and we'll jump onto a picture of the sign and see what it says, eh? Okay. This, I'll read the plaque while we're looking at it. It says a Daimler Renard road train was purchased by Isisdown Station, Isisford, in 1912 and used until 1930. The prime mover was a 6-cylinder petrol Daimler Knight towing 3 trailers, each carrying 30 bales of wool, 70 miles to Ilfricombe. A one-day journey which used a lot of petrol. It appears 4 of these road trains came to Australia during this period. They are very unique as each trailer had its own drive wheels driven by a tail shaft from the prime mover. Each was also 4-wheel steer, and the road speed was around 10 miles an hour. The museum would like to thank George Woodfield for his mechanical assistance, and to be very generous Bill Suffren, who loaded and transported them to their present location. So they've been lent to the display by Isisdown Station in Isisford. So, but yeah, I always look at these trailers and I'm just amazed by them. I wouldn't mind actually seeing the Daimler that pulled them. But yeah, if you're ever going to make up a little model of something different, wouldn't that be a great thing to do? Okay, he's a big Marshall tractor. What a cracker. That used to be a big old day on there, wouldn't it? Now, this front wheel is my chest height. The back wheel here, I'm about 6'2", and so that would be around 6'6", that back wheel. It's gear drive. You can see down in there the gear setup, and this big gear here, that's inside the wheel. I don't know whether it drives on one wheel or two. Let's go find out. You'll be standing up there all day. That looks like it's got a brake or a winch drum in there, maybe. I believe it's a winch drum. And here's a, this is probably what hooked onto it. That's a big bit of machinery. Things seem to last out here in the dry weather. You know, even the radiator cores there look great. You know, still in good nick. Bit of a project that one, eh? Right, so this is where the mile of machinery starts, at Ilfricombe. So we'll just go for a walk, and looks like a D8. Not a little D4. That's the main sign. The Lynn Cameron Machinery Mile in recognition of his contribution, which helped make our town what it is today. So we have a little Fordson crawler. She's past her use by date. There's a Fiat crawler. Must have had a winch over top, a cable blade. McCormick Deering. Little Caterpillar. An Alice. Another Alice. Another little McCormick Deering. Macro light truck. First of its kind in Australia, 1919. 3-ton Lycra truck on solid rubber tyres and trailer with iron wheels, hauling hoop pine from Cane Babel to Bow Desert. This was the first time in Australia that a log timber was hauled with a truck and a trailer. This is what's left of it. Chain drive. Looks to be a 4-cylinder petrol. Different times, eh? And we got an old Fordson F by the look of that. And on the walk here we have a Fordson E27N. Quite common in Australia. And the Ilfricombe railway station. I'll try and grab a couple of good videos of the road trains going past. They're pretty regular. Well, they were yesterday afternoon when we were at the pub. And that's the Ilfricombe railway station. Still gets used. Right, that looks like a little Alice grader. Then we have a little Hart Par. Hart Pars are not a common tractor in Australia. We don't see a lot of them around. I know the collectors are, like me mate Maltese, is importing them. E27N with the half track. We have a steam engine there for some reason. I don't know what it used to do. And up here further, looks like a farmall grader. Looks like a Farmall M. It's a petrol. There's got the petrol carby on the side there. But there was quite a few of these around by Armstrong Holland. Yeah, you see them about in a bit. There's a scoop over the back there. Where are we? Just over there. That looks like a horse-drawn scoop. A dray. And we'll zoom back out again. And the Australian Furfie water tanks. These are quite collectible now. Just the back of the, even just the back of the tanks is very collectible. Look at that. Very pointy on the plough, real sharp point on the shear. I suppose it must have been easy for the horses to pull, I don't know. But it looks like you had a bit of power on the front there, and you had to walk behind and do a bit of hard yakka. Then we have another steam engine there, portable engine. And over here, it's a bit of a blade plough. See, they can pull him along, and because they didn't have the horsepower, they had a lot of rake on the blade itself. So I'm not sure what this one is. Let's have a look. Oh, look at this. A 1919 model 27 horsepower tractor killed a man while cranking it on the Darling Downs, then sold to Hereward Station, Morella in 1922. This tractor replaced 28 horses used to pull a Comet fire plough. Had a tendency to rear up. Ha! Sounds like a shit of a thing. And Minneapolis Steel Machinery. Oh, it's a Twin City. Okay, and that was a fire plough. So I suppose when there was a fire there, they get this thing going and try and put in a little brake just to give them a chance to fight the fire. And we have a Fordson, an F, another F, a portable engine, an N, Fordson N, a couple of Moffat Virtue engines, this is a big dray for taking wool. We'll see what it says on the little tag here. This is a scale model fully laden wool wagon, Ilfricombe Shire. This one. We'll have to have a look at that a bit later. That's a big wagon, you can see with the weight on. She has the turntable there, so it was steel on steel, so I suppose they put a bit of lanolin or fat of some sort on there. That's a big bit of gear. Once again, that wheel, the back wheel there would be 5 foot high, 5'6" maybe, and the top of the rail there is around 6 foot off the ground, so they had to get all the wool up there. They have a little shed here. Some parts aren't open, but that's okay. Another portable steam engine. What do we have here? A Republic truck. Had a little bit of work done on it by the looks. Still a lot to go. A wool press. What's this old fella? A Dodge 4. A grinding stone. Little forge. And here's a lathe. She's probably been a little while. Oh, flatbed like my big old Maxon. Let's see what brand it is if we can. This weighs 3.3 tonnes. Keeley the lathe people. Keeley the lathe people. The Dean, Smith and Grace lathe. So it's a Dean, Smith and Grace with a 4-jaw. Looks like a bit of a safety shield around the back of the chuck. Alright, moving right along. Got a bit of room there for some stuff. There. Looks like a little pump plant. Got the tank to pump a horse-drawn grader. E27 half track with a blade. Couple of mowers. That's a big old baler. Looks like a Hercules on the front. And we'll keep walking. Another horse-drawn grader. A tumbling Tommy. So they fill it up with dirt, then when they need to get somewhere they pull the lever and the bucket there just rolls over. A lot of graders. There's a little baler. What's this say? The big tumbling Tommy for holding chicken scraps, kitchen scraps, then to be taken away emptied, common around every property around 60 years ago. So there's a big one and a little one. Big old pump. The post hole borer. They must have dragged that along and then hooked him up to a power source, probably a tractor or something. It was in the age of slip clutches, so little engine at the back, McCormick Deering. There's a Blitz. Now look at this big old Ruston, what a cracker. That is huge. I'll come around the back so that I've got the sun to my back. It's hard to stay out of the frame. Big 4-cylinder petrol. Look at the tracks on that. That would be 18 inches wide. Big bit of gear. The old pins had a bit of a bend. It must have come out some stage. Okay, there's a plaque here we can have a read of. It's a 1917 Ruston kerosene tractor. So for you, those of you in England, that's power kerosene or TVO. One of the only 3 remaining in the world, confirmed by the World Authority and registered keeper of Lincoln, England. There you go. This tractor was used in building of the Longreach to Winton railway line in 1925, then later to pull a Comet fire plough. Huh. This is a big bit of gear. I hate to think what that'd weigh. Anyway, moving right along. Little gen set. That's a bit of anchor chain. Now they used to do scrub pulling with that. Yeah, there was a go. A portion of ship's anchor chain which later was used for scrub pulling in the Winton area and on Vergemont Station. Now thanks. I had a mate, Rick, Pomona Rick. He He used to do scrub pull them when he was a young fella. He come out the dingo for a while, so yeah. So they put a big dozer on, like a D8 each end, and yeah, there might be 100 yards or more. Oh, look, probably quite a bit more of that. And it's just little scrub, so they just pull like buggery and just flatten it all. That's Southern Cross, made in Toowoomba. The boring rig for putting down bores for water. There's another fire plough. Bit of a pump. Oh, it's a blower fan. Shit. Look at the size of that. That'll be 14 inches down the spout. This fan is from the well-shot wool scour, which was reputed to have been the first wool scour in Australia. Ah, there you go. What's this fella next to it? Looks like a stone crusher down the front there. Oh, gravel crusher, there you go. Old portable gravel crusher was found abandoned on the Longreach Commons. The rocks went down in there, and this thing must have come back and forth by the look of it. Another little scoop. A Brit Stand scoop. Some of this looks a bit dark, but a little firefighter pump. Oh, Austin. A ship's tank. There's a pump. Engines, rakes. Oh, look here. They had to have a Fergie in the show, didn't they? Let's go and have a look. Out of interest, that's the Ferguson badge that a lot of these tractors had from the dealer. So it's a little petrol, it's a TEA, it's only got the single fuel tank, it's got the bigger brake pedals. Got the original PDO shaft in, 16 spline rear axles. I'll see if it has a serial number. You fellas can look it all up for me. Okay, TEA 317260 is the serial number. And it's got a Zenith 24T carby on it. Hey, you could play with that. What do we have here? A white truck. A British Bedford with a tank on the back. Another jack pump. A winch. Possibly another Austin, do you think? I'm not sure. Over the coast where I live in Bundaberg, a lot of the stuff, we have very humid, salty air and nothing lasts. Out here, the things seem to not rust away. They get a little bit of surface rust on them, but that's as bad as it gets. That's an interesting bit of gear. A little saw bench. Must be a big pulley down the bottom there to put weight on it. With a little Rosebery engine. Sheepfoot roller. There's a Howard. That'll be a DH22 with the steering wheel straight up and down. When the steering wheel come back on an angle, they're a DH226. Another old rocket, not sure what it is. Okay, what do we have here? It's got a petrol motor on it. And it's got an auger, so she's dropping a hole Yeah, self-powered post hole digger. Wonder what the engine's out of. It's a little side valve, possibly a Morris or something. Not sure what that would do. Hang on, let's have a look. Not sure what this was used for. There you go. There's a little Lister spray plant. Not sure about that. I reckon it might have been part of a drilling rig. Ah, this is where they used to get these old tanks after the war. Yep, the Stewart Tank. These new tanks were sold by Army Disposals after the Second World War at an auction in Albury for £5 each, including each sale was a spare engine and a set of tracks. Shit, I'd buy one now. The original engine was a 7-cylinder air-cooled radial that had been used in planes. Wow. The company at Katoomba modified some of them, removing the turrets, fitting dozer blades and selling them for £500 each in the early 50s. Top speed was 45 mile an hour. And looks like a rubber track. So and someone's popped a diesel engine in here. Let's see if I can see what it would be. I wonder if it would be a Gardner or something like that. Not sure. Another old portable engine. The big Hornsby. Oh, it looks like we're under hay balers. That's a tractor drawn one. Self-powered. Hey mate.
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, good.
I'm an old guy to drive from way back this way. I wouldn't like to drive.
Gee, few of them up here though, eh?
Yeah.
And this old jigger. The Long Reach Engineering ex-army crane. It's an AEC 6x6 10 tonne Coles fully slewing crane. Total weight of the machine was 26 tonnes. She's heavy built. Looks like we run up, we've got a run of graders. So we'll just go for a walk up here. We're nearly to the end of the mile. That'll be my exercise for the day. Probably a couple of days. But I should do some after sitting at the pub with the locals last night, having a bit of a ball. We had a great time. There's an Alice Chalmers grader. Brit stand. Another one with a Farmall power plant. Okay, we'll just do a walk straight back and see what we find. Judy's found someone to talk to up here. We got no hope. She just hangs around while I do all this. Probably bores her to tears. We might go over the back and walk up the back of them. We might see something a bit different. A little bit of breeze, but I don't think it's showing up.